To open up the Gondorians. This is one of the very first models I have ever owned. This was one of the first ones. I think, actually, no, you know what? It might have been the very first set I ever got. I was with my grandpa, and I think Luke, my brother, as well. And we saw a bunch of excited people at the mall. And we were like, okay, well, what's going on over there? There's this weird store called Warhammer. Or I guess at the time, I think it was just called Games Workshop. They have now changed the storefront to be called Warhammer because of branding and stuff. But back then, back in 2007, it was just called Warhammer. So we went in, we saw a whole bunch of like really cool, weird-looking futuristic space miniatures, but also, very strangely, Lord of the Rings. And I remember going up to a table and like moving a couple little dudes around, and this staff member yelling at me like, "Hey, you can't! Please don't touch those! Don't touch those!" Like very sternly, very sternly. It was very intimidating for a young child such as myself. And what's so funny is that worker's probably like 48 years old right now, if not older. That's the crazy part to me. But yeah, so I immediately was like, this is crazy. I didn't realize there were miniatures for one of my favorite movie series of all time. Probably the most favoritist movie series of all time for me. But I talked to my grandpa and I was like, hey, let's get some minis and we can paint them. He's like, okay, sounds good. So, I mean, if you can kind of see on the back here, the Gondorian minis, they're just black and silver and with just a little bit of skin color, so getting the paints was pretty easy to do at the time. So went back to his house and painted them up. Very slap chop, very, not great, as the kids say. Wow. Okay, old school bases. Do they have a year on them? 2006. Okay. Wow. Yeah, because I remember, I think the bases for those were from 1994, something like that. So this comes with 24 miniatures. And it's basically just 2 sprues of this. Don't know if you can see it that well. Here, I'll put a piece of paper behind it so you can see it better. Check it. Pretty cool. Yeah, just kind of straightforward. I feel like, and these are the original molds too. Yeah, NLP Incorporated 2003. They don't have that anymore. It's just called, it just says Warhammer Games Workshop on it. And they look a little rough. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, like the actual, you're not going to be able to see it at all. But it just seems like the details aren't sharp. They're just kind of put out there just to put out, man. But I mean, at the same time, like there's no assembly. It's like you put the spears on the arms of the spearmen, and that's literally it. Like, you're done. Like, this is probably the most easiest model assembly you'll ever make. I mean, if you've seen, I don't know if I included it, but for my Victrix World War II Germans, these are all the leftover bits. I mean, it's a ton, and like here's. You saw it. There was 4 sprues of regular and 1 sprue of heavy, and it's literally just this little old box. Yeah, there it is. It's just this little old box. There's like 40 people. There's a couple dudes here. Don't mind everything over there. That's all stuff that's getting primed. But, like, it's not that many dudes. Can this GoPro cooperate? Thank you. Appreciate. But, like, not that many dudes size-wise. But, man, the assembly took forever. 5 ever, even. But yeah, the Gondorians. Just cut them out, stick them on the base. Hey guys, I've recorded the previous clip from a day before. I'm working on my Gondorian warriors here that are from the very first time I got into the hobby with my grandpa. So these are all my original painted warriors. They're not great. I think I just put a layer of black paint on them, slathered on some silver, just all chunky. Look, the tree isn't even painted that well on that one. Simple scabbards. You know, there's a lot of overbrush into the hair. I don't know if you can see it that well on this guy, but his hair is all covered up with silver. Just really not great paint jobs. And also, I didn't have super glue at the time, so there's a lot of, it's wood glue. So there's this little like foamy type stuff. After it dries, like the foam expands and puffs up, and it's supposed to hold, like, you know, it's wood glue, you know? So it's supposed to hold the wood together, not built for plastic. So I'm just taking them off their bases, cleaning them up a little bit, because I'm going to go over the bases again with some other kind of basing material. I was thinking about what a lot of people do is they've been doing like rubble and city streets, like cobblestone, for their bases, which is going to involve a lot of green stuff. I don't know if I have enough for these 24, or I guess 23 bases, because one guy's all rusted over and he's kind of chunky. He's kind of garbage. So 23 plus 24 here for those. So that's gonna be a lot of green stuff. I don't know if I should probably actually, I have Millie put down there somewhere, which is like more chalky, grittier type of material. I can use those for the cobblestone maybe. That would seem like a cool idea, because all the rest of my armies, like Moria has kind of you know, like a cave system gray, and all my other models, whether it's Mordor or Angmar or Rohan, it's all like ground, typical ground. Kind of samey, kind of boring. So maybe I'd go with something new for Gondor. And also, I talked a little bit about how, you know, I might convert some stuff. These heads are going to be a real pain to saw off. And I don't know if I have the patience to do that. So these might just be like regular Gondorian warriors. Maybe a little bit of a different paint job than the normal. I don't know. The silver seems pretty cool. So maybe I just dry brush silver and just make them look better. I don't know. But that's the update. See you later. Bruh, it's legit taking me like almost all day, like probably 3 hours, probably, to just like do the cleaning on these. To do the cleaning on these and also remove these guys from the bases. Like 3 hours. And I mean, I did a couple like touch-ups of primer on these from stuff where when stuff wore off. I'm redoing the Necromancer. This is a very old model from back in the day. I put some green stuff on the side, and I'm priming it so I can repaint it. Don't know what color I want to do next on it. I know that like sickly green is the typical one, but anywho's, doing the mold lines on these is so annoying. Oh my gosh! And I did the where are they at? Where are you guys? Oh yeah. The little Victor's guys that I talked about already. Those took a while too to clean all the parts up, but you know, assembling them was fun. I'm just scraping plastic. Oh my gosh! Can you like stop? I need you to stop. Please stop. I'm done. I'm over it. Wow, I literally recorded a whole thing, and I was really well spoken to, and it didn't record. That's cool. Love that GoPro. Anyway, so what I've been doing recently is I've been taking models that I've painted 10, 15 plus years ago that weren't great. It was just literally paint on plastic, not even a primer or like a black undercoat. It was just paint there. Don't worry about the lines. You know, it doesn't matter if it's armor, if his armor and clothing is red at the same time. Don't worry about that. Anyway, so I've taken a bunch of those models and I've given them a facelift. Repainted them black, like with primer, and then done like a dusting of a dry brush of white, and then in some models where I want certain parts of the model accented better, I went over them with a regular brush, such as this one, and just took white paint on this and kind of did like a drag
of white paint along some of the edges that I thought looked cool, like whether that's a weapon or a piece of armor or robe or something like that, some kind of trim with white. And then you go over it with something called the slap chop method. So once you have that dusting of white, that is going to fake like the outer part of your skin, armor, clothing that the light hits first, and obviously the shadows are deeper in on the body. So then you go over that with transparent paint called contrast paint, or Army Painter makes a brand called Speed Paint, which I use a lot, and I'm a huge fan of. Incredible investment. So that mimics the normal quote-unquote way of painting things, where you do a base coat, then do layer of like lighter colors of that, you know, kind of like a grading, and then finishing up with like a wash or Nuln oil or something to kind of give it like a little more pop. So slap chop kind of takes all that out of the way and saves you hours upon hours per model, and kind of gives you great results kind of right away. Now obviously it's not expert level by any stretch of the imagination, but it can be a good starting point for newer painters, or even painters like myself who have been collecting for a long time, who don't have the time and the skill and the energy to put into these models as much as I would like anyway. It kind of gives you a leg up. Anyway, so that's why, like, I've been going over old models that way. Let's see if I can give a good example. This guy isn't done yet, but this is Radagast the Brown. He's kind of a model I did a long time ago, and so he's got some transparent paint on him right now. So he's a work in progress, but I just want to give you a quick example of that. But what I keep forgetting to do is I keep forgetting to do like a before and after picture of these models to show you, wow, that old stuff was rough. Holy cow. And then like an after after picture or whatever of the updated product, where it's like, oh, I can't believe that's where you are right now. So what prompted me to make this little clip right here is I've been working on this one dude called the Necromancer. He's a very old Games Workshop model, full metal. It was part of the Rise of the Necromancer, I think, supplement that came out many years ago, when Sauron kind of begins his rise back in Mirkwood during the events of The Hobbit. It's mentioned very briefly in the books, but they turn into this whole thing of and they actually showed it a little bit in the Hobbit movies, the live-action movies. But GW made a model based on the Necromancer, of him rising back to power, where it's still vaguely Sauron, but also not really. So I just wanted to give you a quick peek of what he looked like. Whoa. And this is him. He's not done yet, obviously, but you can kind of tell he's got some of those raised edges of his robe that I've kind of put some paint on, and I kind of put some darker contrast paint at the bottom there, you know, because it's lighter up you go. And I didn't finish the top of his robes there. I'm gonna make that into like really light green paint also. And I have to figure out what I want to do for his armor pieces, as minimal as they are. Maybe bronze. I'll try out some, like, you know how like old bronze and old copper, it turns blue because it oxidizes like that. Might do something like that. You know, rust is really overdone with steel and iron armor, which is the vast majority of medieval and Lord of the Rings armor pieces. So something like copper, with some blue underneath, might work really well with that green. So that's what I got going on. I finished a plague dude. He's gonna pop up later if I remember, hopefully. I did some really cool goopy stuff on him that seems really cool, but anyway, that's for another time. Deuces with deuces. Alright guys, more update type stuff. We have 2 packages that came in the mail. Don't worry about those guys, that's another whole issue. Also, there's stuff up there, don't worry about that. So in these packages, I got some stuff from eBay. Let me just prop this up right here. So on eBay, there was a guy that was doing some really cool selling type stuff, and he was selling I believe it was, yeah, a Minas Tirith warrior lot, and also like a Haradrim warrior lot, and both prices were like really good, so I couldn't pass up on that.
especially because he combined shipping for me, so I just had to pay like, you know, 66% of what the original price would have been if they were like from different sellers, if that makes sense. So they're all wrapped up like this. Some stuff is already kind of painted. Let me see if I can turn this light on. So like some of this, like this stuff, that's already painted right there. A lot of stuff isn't. It's all like default. But they're all in the bases, which is great. So he might have like begun painting one and then based the others and then realized, this isn't for me, and then just decided to sell it. So that's fine with me. That's what I'm looking for. So big old box. I believe it was like 30. It was like 24 or 36 of each of Haradrim Warriors and Minas Tirith. So now I have a bunch of Minas Tirith, like in the 60s, maybe 70s. Some, like these guys, are original figures, like the first models I ever bought with my grandpa. So I'm repurposing those into something else because the paint job on that is absolutely terrible. It's awful, and they're a bit clogged with paint from back in the day when I used to just slop it on there. No primer, just right on plastic. So instead of, you know, trying to go through the paint stripping process and trying to figure out all that kind of stuff, I just spray them over with brown primer, and I got an very interesting idea for those that I'll share with you at another time. But this second box, I like how he put it in a flat rate box because the shipping wasn't too bad. This is kind of fancy. Oh, look what we have here. Something. Let's give it a little open. A little look-see. Well, the plastic bag isn't very put together. Here we go. Cave troll with spear. So I know that like you typically don't want to take the spear option because you want to go with the club for the hand and a half rule, which basically, if I'm remembering properly from reading it, is you can do like a normal strike with it, which is like normal dice, normal to wound roll, but then you can also double hand it if you want, which gives you a -1 on the attack roll, but then +1 strength, I believe. So do with that what you will. But this guy comes with a spear. I also got him for fairly cheap. Cave trolls are very in demand. I have to double check to see what the actual base size is, because if this is a 40mm base, I don't know if they're allowed to go on those. I have to ask a community member to see what's going on with that. But I mean, it's pretty dang cool. I have one with a club, and this is just a piece of cork I made as his hammer because the original metal piece got lost somewhere in history. So these two guys, contemporaries basically. So interested to see how this guy's gonna match up. And oh, and also this other cave troll, it's on an old base, a 40mm base, so I don't know if I should take that guy off. I mean, I super glued him in there, so I don't think he's coming off, but whatever, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's the unboxing of those. I'm really interested to figure out what's going on with the Haradrim Warriors, because I've never owned anything from like a faction of the Far East or the Southrons, like Umbar and all that type of stuff. So it'd be really interesting to see what that's all about. And I'll give you a little hint. The South is related to the project that I have with these old Minas Tirith warriors. So think about that. What could a South project be for Gondor? Crazy. I'll let you stew on that. Anyway, I'm going to do another little update blurb here in a second, so stick around, stay tuned.
All right, so a lot of you may know that I am a huge advocate for the Army Painter speed paints. There's my little collection right there. I love the transparency. I love how they flow into cracks and crevices and kind of give it that dark interior while also giving the outside of the model appropriate coverage, especially if you dry brush the model in white first. It makes those colors pop. But Games Workshop also sells contrast paints. They're not necessarily labeled as speed paints. They have a little bit darker opacity, so you have to put less on the model than you would with these other ones, but also they do excellent coverage. So I just want to show my small tiny collection of it real quick. So right here we have contrast orc flesh. This is a very dark green. It doesn't really work well for Lord of the Rings orcs, but it's good for like cloth. This is Black Templar. It's like mostly black tinged blue. Really good for like black leather and that kind of stuff. Cygor Brown, that's just a dark brown. Gadrox Sewer, which is kind of like a mud brown, like not dark brown, but like mud brown, if you know what I mean. Snakebite Leather is also another kind of brown. It's very light, very airy. Here's an example on a Rohan warrior that I painted up. It's his little tunic there, so pretty light brown, good coverage. Really happy with it. And then I picked these up. Technical paint contrast medium, so this will actually thin down contrast paint, because if you add water to contrast paint, it just makes it really runny. Contrast medium actually dilutes the color. It has around the same consistency, but it changes the opacity. It changes the color of it, so you can cover a wider area with less, if that makes sense. Apothecary White, it looks a bit gray, so I don't have a white speed paint. Here it is all clumped up at the bottom. It must have been sitting for a while. I don't have a white speed paint. The closest thing I have is like Battleship Gray or like Ashen Stone from the Speed Painter, which is very gray in nature, so having something that's supposed to be white, let's see what we can do with that. And Wildwood is just another kind of brown. I was tempted to go for a black contrast from GW, because I just have one from Army Painter called Grim Black. But Wildwood is another kind of brown. I haven't used it yet. I'll have to look up a video to see what it actually looks like on a model. But that's the update for that. Also, I can't remember if I showed you guys last time or not in the update video, but I'll just show it again. I got some orange tufts that you can just put a spritz of craft glue, like PVA glue, on the bottom of, and put them on your bases. I also got Mordian Corpse Grass, which is nothing except little, dead shrubs, whatever. And then I also got Green Stuff World Grass Tufts. This is just more typical green, something you could put on Rohan or Gondor, or something that's very like good, like a good model, and Mordian could be for probably evil of Mordor or something. Speaking of Rohan, we have the Highland set. So, long grass tufts for the fields, and also some wildflowers, I don't know if it's barley or what. Looks like there's only one set of them. That's kind of lame. I guess they're more for accent than coverage, but I'm probably gonna put those on my Rohan warriors. Very cool. Very looking forward to using all these. I haven't used basing materials such as these yet. I've just done like the basic rocks that are dry brushed brown on top, or green grass that I've sprinkled over glue. And in my past, I covered the entire base with grass, and it didn't look quite right. You kind of got to have a mix of stone, dirt, flowers, bushes. It's just to make the pieces pop a little more. So I'm excited to get into that. But that's the update for that. We'll see you later.